Home team, Spurs, Tobes, prediction?
2-1 Spurs.
I'm going to give you a chance to change that.
Live by the sword, die by the sword.
Turkish is
We lose the game
playing.
if we win. If we win, I'm up.
North London derby. A North London derby, and we can play like that in the first half, man. You know what happened today? We had chances. Ramsdale, I hate his guts. Hate him even more after today. He was excellent for some of the chances we had, but Arsenal were the better side, man.
Tottenham, mind the gap! Tottenham, mind the gap! Tottenham, mind the gap!
I've posted on Twitter my football manager stats.
Oh my God! It's your fault! Just like that! We was on top! We looked bright!
Wolves 1, West Ham 0. Absolutely shocking performance. Awful game of football. Boring football. Moyes has got to go. There is no way back for him now. No.
Oh my God!
What?
That was unreal.
No.
No.
That's some bullshit, because I watched it and I thought, wait a minute. And then I see Toad's face. I thought, all right, it's Toad's turn this time. And then I still get shoehorned in, thinking it's Toad's this time.
Big up my boy Sam. Big up my boy Sam for sorting that out. Big up my boy Sam.
Your time will come. Your time will come, Potts. And I tell you what, if Sam don't get on them editing the clips now, I'm gonna do it. Yeah, your time's coming, my friend.
Listen, when you're 8 points clear and you're not in a relegation zone, it's very hard, bruv. Do you know what I'm saying?
Oh,
So-
that's the clip right there. That's the clip right there. Got it.
Well, mate, I'll let you have that one day, you know, when West Ham actually do manage to get themselves safe. Welcome, people. I hope you're well. Listen, Tobes should be here, but he's not. I don't know if he's had a really bad weekend. I mean, I don't know what happened to the weekend. Did anything happen for him to get upset? I don't know. Maybe it did. But he's not about at the moment, but he will be, I'm sure. He's told me he was coming on. So let's see what happens. Guys, listen, we don't have a copy of you for long, so I want to get into a couple of bits. I know we've only got Pete for a while. We've only got Lewis for a while, but I actually do want to start with Lewis. I did want to go into the North London derby, but I'm starting to get a bit peeved with Chelsea, man. And it ain't just about the Mudryk thing. It's just about everything. Like, I know it's all good for Chelsea fans. I know, Lewis, you'll be loving it because you're just banging in money and you've got a nutty owner. But let's just be real, and I want to get everyone's opinion on this. Does anyone actually see a plan at Chelsea, or are they just going mad with money? Because for me, it's like, where are they going with this team building? Like, go and buy a midfielder. No, we'll go and buy a left winger. Go and buy, they got João Felix, he's got sent off. For me, he can play in a couple of positions. I still go and get a centre forward. I don't see that. I see some young players coming in. Obviously, we've seen some older players coming in, Aubameyang, Sterling, Koulibaly. I don't know, Lewis. Am I just bitter? Am I being harsh? Like, what's going on, bro?
From the outside in, I can see it a little bit, but there is a long-term plan in place. There just needs to be a lot more outgoings before we can bring in more ingoings. And we're trying to get under 25s in. We're trying to build a young squad that Graham Potter can mould in his image. And yeah, there's still a lot of other areas that need to be strengthened. We're going in for a midfielder next. Apparently, Caicedo is going to be the guy we're going for. Probably going to be another 70 million that we're spending, but it helps our midfield at the very least. But I do see a plan. Long-term investment in young prospects that we can mould in the way that the manager wants to mould. We just need a lot more players to leave first, and that will happen in the summer. There's been talks of likes of Koulibaly, Havertz, Pulisic, Ziyech, Aubameyang, Jorginho, potentially Kante, Azpilicueta, all leaving. And then that's more money that we can use to spend on more younger talent as well. So I do see a plan in place. It's a long process or a long project. So we're just in stage one. There's still a lot more that needs to be done. And yeah, we look in the right position right now. I have full faith in Bowley. I have full faith in our scouting system. I do believe Chelsea are going to be in a much better position next season and in the next 2 or 3 years that precede it. But it's just right now. Right now, in spite of everything, we're still a mess. We're still not making top 4. So nothing really changes in spite of all the money that's being spent, which is why we look like we're a bit clueless right now. But we're not planning for this year. We're planning for next year.
Mm.
Do you stick by Potter, though?
What?
Do you stick with Potter?
Yeah, 100% we stick with Potter.
Fair play, man. Pete, from one rich club to another rich club, what's your thoughts on Chelsea? I mean, you've been very vocal on here talking about how Newcastle have not done what Chelsea have done, which is spend money. But do you see anything at Chelsea that makes you think that they actually do have a plan moving forward? Or is it just we're going to try and trump people to money, or we're going to try and be desperate and go and just spend? Like, where do you see it with Chelsea, bruv?
I'll be honest with you. I don't see a plan at Chelsea. This is the outside looking in. I don't see a plan there. I see a club currently, and I mean the summer as well, that are just buying players that other teams want. I don't see a proper structure there. I don't see a scouting network. I don't see a forward plan in terms of where that player fits in terms of the style of play. I'm looking at Chelsea and I'm thinking, well, yeah, they're buying Mudryk, but I think there are other places that they need to sign, and there are other players out there that would be better placed spending that near 100 million euros. And it just, they've got the money, great, they're spending it, no problem. But I just think that a lot of their signings haven't made sense, and some of them still don't make sense. Even now, and a Mudryk signing, as good as he is, doesn't make sense. I think Arsenal getting him, you knew where he was going to come in, you knew where they needed to improve. It made sense. For me, I just see it as Chelsea signing a player to stop Arsenal signing a player. That's how I see it. For me, I might be wrong, but
do you think that's fair, Lewis? Do you think that Chelsea did just stop Arsenal from getting Mudryk, or was Bowley like, we need to get Mudryk in for months and months?
Apparently, we had been looking at him for months, and the old scouts, the new scouts that we brought in, had been looking at him as well. So I think it's just a case of you guys. Your terms were a bit of an issue with Shakhtar because they thought some of the buy-on clauses were a bit unrealistic, like him winning the Ballon d'Or potentially. There was, if Arsenal win the Champions League, then they get a little percentage of that too. And we were just offering just the base fee. And I think the add-ons were a bit more realistic from our end. I think that was the difference between the pair of us, because other than that, we offered the same fee. We offered similar wages. Like, I think I've heard you guys offered 30K, but I'm also hearing you offered 100K. We offered 150. So it was a case of like minute differences. I don't think it was just Chelsea jumped in out of nowhere on this.
Yeah, it seems like when I saw today, the guy had come out, CEO of Shakhtar, and said both bids were the same. It was everything else that Chelsea had offered more. So it seems to me as if we weren't miles off, but it was just something that Chelsea could beat us to. But it's frustrating for me, not because I can't lie and sit there and tell you that I watch every game of this guy and think he's outstanding, he's going to win us the league. But it's just frustrating that would have been quite a exciting signing. And now it's not going to happen because Chelsea have kind of got it. It's where we go from here. With Chelsea, I think it's just going to be go on to the next. Doesn't seem to me like there's going to be much of a difference between Roman Abramovich and Todd Bowley, other than in terms of the spend, that is. Other than does he have the ambition to want to win like Roman did? That's what we're going to find out. So, be an interesting one. Go on, Errol.
No, I read something earlier today about Chelsea in regards to obviously the acquisition when Bowley bought the club from Roman, and obviously whoever owned it in the interim and wherever it was kept in the interim. And essentially it was basically saying that there was a stipulation that Bowley would still have to spend X amount of money within a particular period of time from buying the club. So I feel like that's the first injection that he's done. I know that we was used to Roman consistently injecting cash into the Chelsea model year on year on year, but I almost feel as though he's trying to put all of his eggs into his basket now, do a lot of investment that looks like he'll be in a position where in the next 2 years he might not have to reinvest as much into the squad. And I feel that if they haven't got a master plan in place by then, it could all bottleneck. And that's where Chelsea could potentially become a little bit unstuck, if you ask me.
Lewis, do you feel like the way that there's all this salt flying around in the air, yeah, all of this salt perpetuating against Chelsea right now, it tells you that you're maybe moving in the right direction? Because I'm seeing a lot of salt, especially from the top row. There, Potts particularly, lots of salt coming from Potts' direction. Errol's got some salt. Is it giving you, a bit of optimism? Maybe you're moving in the right direction because the hate is coming.
We're yet to see if they're moving in the right direction.
No salt from me.
Yeah, it's still a bit too early to tell, but I do think we are. But I think a lot of the salt is because everyone expected us to be broke after Roman, and suddenly we got Roman on steroids. But
Lewis,
hey, it is what it is.
Lewis, what about the contracts that are being offered? I mean, 8.5 years, wasn't it, that Mudryk had? I don't understand that. I just don't understand that as a contract.
Apparently, it's just to keep us within the lines of FFP.
Right. Okay.
So I understand it from that regard, but they're all younger investments too. So I expect them to be here for about 3 to 4 years, unless they're just major flops.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. Yeah.
Mate, Pete, let's come to you before you got to shoot off, bruv. Obviously, Newcastle were doing mad things, and it looked as if Mitrovic might have been there to ruin the party. I've never seen a penalty like that in my life. I can't believe. I was in the AFTV studio getting ready for the watch along, and I saw that, and I went, "Oh, go on then, put that in. He's in my fantasy team. That'll be fine." Yeah, brilliant. He scored. Great stuff. I looked at it again and I thought, oh dear. Now, I'm not going to sit there and lie to you. I didn't actually know the rules with penalties like that. I didn't know what was supposed to happen. What actually does that count as? A fouled penalty?
It's a double touch. So I've seen it in football many a times. It's happened to me actually, not in the same way. But another person has to touch the ball before you get a second touch. So basically, like, I've been in a position where I've took a penalty, it's come smack off the post, come back to me, and I've hit it in and scored. But it's no one else has touched the ball, so therefore it counts as a free kick. The opposite.
So it's okay if the keeper saves it. Obviously, the keeper's got to save it. Yeah.
It happened with Joe Hart years ago, didn't it? Joe Hart. Someone scored against City, and Joe Hart put his hand up and said, "It doesn't count. It doesn't count." And the ref stopped it, didn't he? Yeah.
So it was obviously it was unlucky for him. It was the double touch.
Were you a bit lucky, Newcastle? A bit lucky, do you think?
We were lucky with the penalty, definitely. It was a weird one. It was another type of Leeds game. We drew 0-0 at Leeds against Leeds at St James's Park just before the Arsenal game. It was very much a similar style. Fulham. And to be fair, I bigged Emilio up, obviously a member of the 12th Man channel as well. Emilio, the Fulham fan, I said, you know what, massive
great guy.
Because he's a great guy, he is, you're absolutely right. But Fulham, I was impressed with Fulham. I said, you know what, fair play to Fulham. They played some good stuff. We were lucky in that situation. Me personally, I think that the first penalty shot with Dan Burn could quite have easily been given a penalty. I thought the second one, if you watch it back, actually Reed stands on Trippier first, so it could have been a free kick the other way. But they gave that one the penalty. The penalty we were very lucky with, but over the course of the game, there is no doubt that we dominated. We had better of the ball, we had the better chances, but we just needed that little bit of difference. And this is why we spent the money on Alexander Isak, because he can provide that moment to win the game. And this is why you spend your money.
How much did you spend on him? Sorry, Pete.
What's that?
How much was he in?
We paid 58 million for him, rising to 6.
Not spending big then. That's all right. I was just
checking. No, not spending big. Not spending 100 million euros.
That's all right.
No, not spending big at all. No, not at all. But this is why
Dan is just never going to let you live that down ever, bro.
Never. No, bring it. That's absolutely fine. But look, we needed someone to come on and give us a little bit something different. And having Isak back, we've not had him for 5 months. He's only made what three starts.
He looks a talent, Pete. He looks a talent.
He's a proper player. When he came on, he completely changed the way in which we played. Him and Wilson linked up so well and clearly linked up for the goal. And look, this is what I was talking about. You know, when we talked about the Arsenal game, Potts, is that, you know, sometimes in games you have to play differently in order to get points. You can't play your normal style, especially when teams sit in deep and make it difficult. You have to try and find a way to win. We didn't against Palace and Bournemouth early on in the season. We didn't against Leeds over Christmas, but we found a way to win against Fulham, a good Fulham side, by the way, who were sixth at the table at the time. So for me, I take that as a massive positive that we can go and pick up points against teams like that where we weren't at our best. Losing Bruno Guimaraes changed the game. We dominated. We looked good. Once he got injured, the team weren't the same. Now, luckily, it's his scan come back today and said it's not serious. There's no ligament damage, so it's looking like a week, maybe 2 max that he's out for, which is massive for us because we're going to need him. You know, we've got games against Palace at the weekend. He'll probably miss that one, but after with the cup final, semi-finals in between, we've got West Ham. So we want to be winning that game.
That's an easy win.
So Lawless with the half and half start on that game.
New manager bounce is coming. Watch out for that new manager bounce, Pete. Telling you, it's coming for you.
We had it with Unai Emery. They just announced him as manager, but we beat them 4-0 at St James's Park. So I'm hoping we do the same again. So look, not the best performance by any means, but we got the points, and for me, that's all that matters.
Where are you heading? I know you got to go now, people. Where are you heading this season, man? Like Newcastle, honestly, title, top 4, top 6. Like what's realistic for you, honestly?
You know what? You know, Man United are playing some great stuff at the moment. They're pushing. They've got a game Wednesday, so they'll probably go back into 3rd position.
Second, mate, we can go second.
Oh, yeah, second, sorry. And then you've got teams coming up behind. You can never rule out any team. But for us, Eddie Howe said it best. We're focused on ourselves, one game at a time. For me, personally, like we're definitely in the top. We're definitely in the top 4 race.
I think you're not ready for what's coming, so be ready then.
Who's that?
That's Lawless.
Me personally,
that's not me.
I think. Look, we should be looking no lower than 6th place.
Stick your chest out, Pete. Go for top 4.
No, we're in the top 4. We're Newcastle
top
United
4, bro.
Are in the top 4 race. There's no doubt about
100.
it. We are in the top 4 race.
I think you'll get it.
But for me, we should be looking no lower than 6th. With the teams around us and the way that we're playing, we should be looking no lower than 6th. But we are no doubt about it. We're in the Champions League race, 100%.
100, man. Pete, I know you got to shoot, bruv, so get yourself off. But thanks for
Sorry,
jumping
guys.
It's calm. Thank you, bro.
And Tobes is here, so you guys are going to get chatting, no doubt about it. You've been waiting for him. But, guys, take care. Have a good one.
See you, Pete.
Nice one, Pete. Take it easy, bruv. Nice one. Lawless is frozen. I don't even know what he's doing with his
I'm here,
phone.
look. I'm here. See me?
Oh, you are here. I can just see a thumb and you. That is all I can see.
Yeah, your screen's froze.
Okay, as long as you're here, man. It's all good, man. As long as you're here. Jesus.
You can see Lewis, me, right? And you can hear me.
Yeah, it's all good. Tobes, all good with you, man. Yeah. Welcome, Tobes. Welcome, bruv. We're gonna get into it in a minute. I'm wary that Lewis has got to shoot, so I want to just ask a couple more things of him. Lewis, you got your win, bruv. You're smiling when you come on.
I know, a rare win.
Can you kick on now, bruv? Can you kick on now?
I mean, we got Liverpool away next, and they're in the same mess that we're in. So I should be confident, but we're Chelsea too. So it could be the biggest stink fest in history. It could be just a massive goal fest. I don't know. But we can go to Anfield and get a result if we play serious. The question is, will Chelsea play serious? And I can't answer that. So it all depends on what happens. But it was good to finally get a win. Better performance than I've seen from us in the last few weeks. Even a rare Kai Havertz goal, which, I mean, you don't always see that too often, but small positives, I guess.
Is still in shock, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and even though everyone's in mention about it, playing like crap. But it was just good to see us get 3 points at last. But I don't know if we can keep it going. We need about a 10-game winning run or something if we want to be serious about getting into a top 4 race, and I just don't think it's realistic. Just think as of right now, we're in friendly mode. Whatever happens from now till the end of the season. I want to see who plays well, who doesn't, and then we can have an idea of what we're rebuilding with next season.
Go on, Dan.
Lewis, what were your exact words when Felix got sent off on his debut? Because I haven't spoken to you since then. Because that was
Typical.
unreal. It was unreal.
It's so Chelsea. Like, I nearly started laughing in the away end. We all knew it was a foul. It was stupid from Felix. I'm not gonna let myself overshadow all of that just because he looked really good in the game. It was dumb from him, and probably Loki just wanted the 30-day vacation with his missus. It is what it is. I understand.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to play next to Mountain Habits every week either. So we move. But
If I,
yeah, it was
I
a good
think that's
60-minute
what I have
cameo.
to drop him for the game back. Don't play him on these games that he comes back. He has to be dropped for that game. The game
it's
that
you lot.
Oh, this is all about this. It was in Techia last week. It's fucking
Drop-
Felix.
You lot shouldn't be worried. You like it when Chelsea come over to your ground. You got a good record against us.
Yeah, but he's looking good, Felix. Like, he's looking like, and he's going to be like really hungry when he gets off of his suspension. So I don't like that. I don't like that at all. But we may have to bring out Manuel Lanzini. Dust him off just for his appearance against you lot.
Just
See
an
what he can
annual
do.
goal against Chelsea as per usual.
Yeah.
But yeah,
that's
I mean, it was a good. Even the Fulham performance was a shitter, but I guess we can build from this. I want to try and be positive, but we've got 2 in 9, so it's like I don't know when the next win will come from. Could be Liverpool. After that, we have I think Fulham again, and then we've got West Ham. Unless Liverpool, I think, get eliminated tonight. Because if Liverpool get eliminated, I think we played them back to back. I don't know why, but it's a bit confusing in that regard, but. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. We're very unpredictable right now.
Lewis, just with regards to where you're finishing, mate, if you have the choice with finishing top 4 or just staying out of Europe so you can start again, what would you take? Would you take?
If you were giving me top 4, I'll take top 4.
I mean Europa. Sorry, mate. If you were offered Europa or just stay out of it and rebuild for next season, what would you do?
I'd rather stick in 10th. I'd rather just stay here. We need
Lawless,
to work
Lawless wants you in the Conference League.
Nah, Lewis has said that from early though. I remember having this exact same conversation with Lewis in about fucking September or October when the wheels started falling off for both of our teams, and we both said the same thing. Come the end of the season, if we're not in Champions League, we both don't want to be in Europe. Full stop.
We need to master league form first. Like, we haven't won the league in like 5 years. We shouldn't have even been in the top 4 last season, if we're being honest. It's only because Arsenal and Spurs bottled it at certain points in the season. And for us now, I'd rather take the 1 game a week, focus on that, build a squad with a bit less pressure. We will make top 4 next season. I'd be very confident in that, the way we're going. And then next season, and then the season afterwards, we can work on being in Europe and being in the Premier League with a completely different squad that I hopefully have a lot more faith in.
Fair play to you, Lewis. Do you know what? I said the same. I was like, with Arsenal, like, just keep me out of that Europa Conference thing. I don't want that. Keep me out of the Europa League. Don't want that. Just get me out of Europe. And look what that did. Absolutely nothing to us. Got us back into the Europa League. Crazy. But there we go. Things have actually progressed for us. So perhaps it can for Chelsea. Lewis, I'll let you shoot, bruv, because I know you got to go, man. But always a pleasure, bruv.
Bless,
take
guys.
care, man.
Take care.
In a bit, bruv. In a bit, man. Before we go North London Derby, Errol, we've got to talk Liverpool, bruv, because you literally are a shambles. Like, you literally are a shambles.
I have to say this, right? The amount of comments that I've had weeks and weeks and weeks. Lawless, get it. You got to put him in the mid-table show, this, that, and the other. We need to start talking about Errol's position on this show, yeah?
Lawless, in the words of you, mate. In the words of you.
Relegation.
You need to chill, yeah? Calm down, bro.
We have to start the conversation.
You are an absolute embarrassment. You're in the relegation zone.
It is on there with Nottingham Forest and Fulham and Palace. Because if Liverpool get knocked out,
I'll go on there and do a cameo. I'll do a cameo for 1 week. Calm down. You've got the details. I'll jump on and do a cameo because the following week we'll be back in situ. Top 6 show. That's how it is. Race for Europe. That's what it's about.
if you get knocked out tonight in the Champions League, or is it double leg or whatever? You get knocked out in the Champions League.
We're playing the
FA Cup, whatever. When's your Champions League game?
Champions League February, the middle of Feb.
All right, you're lucky. You've been bought a bit of time, but when you get knocked out of that, then boy, we have to talk about it. You know what I mean?
Well, come chat to me then, yeah.
Lawless is
Yeah.
lonely. Like Lawless is lonely, mate. He wants some friends. That's what it is. He wants somebody back down there with him. Do you know what I'm saying? And he's chosen the wrong people, man. You cannot compare Liverpool seasons with West Ham's. You just
Well,
can't do
because
that, Lawless.
but look at Liverpool are a shambles, and they might be out of the race for you. But
And
Errol's
what are
sitting there
you?
saying,
What are
You
you?
spent more money than
No.
Liverpool.
but Errol's sitting there saying he would rather not finish in Europe, finish mid-table. Okay, so you go talk to the mid-table teams then.
Bro, I would happily this season. If this season continues in the same vein that it is, I would happily concede that don't want us to be in Europe next season. I don't want no Conference League football. And I don't want no Europa League football. The reason that I don't want any of them, and again, it's a bit of a cheat to be honest, because we can do one season out of Europe and automatically with our coefficient, get entered back into Europe the next season anyway. So it doesn't really make too much of a difference for us. I just want us to concentrate on getting back to our league best form week in, week out consistently. The Europe at the moment has drained us. We've got to 3 Champions League finals in about 5 or 6 years. We've only won one of them. We've been beat by a really good Real Madrid team twice. It's absolutely drained us. Going neck to neck with City season in, season out, it's taking the wheels off taking the legs off some of these lads. Going deep in every single competition last season, has taken the legs away from some of our midfielders. So we're in a crisis right now. And a lot of people said earlier in the season, and they addressed the fact that there might be a need for a rebuild. And I was on the fence. I didn't think it was going to be as much surgery as actually needed. Where when you deep it now, I've got no confidence in Liverpool's midfield right now. They're getting outworked, out muscled, out fought. You get them. The quality isn't there anymore. And players that we once considered of a certain caliber have completely fell off a cliff. So that until that area is addressed and until we can shore up our defensive line, playing that high line is just causing more problems than it's worth at the moment. We are going to have to address the fact that Liverpool aren't going to be going toe-to-toe with City or Arsenal or competing for that top 4 position. We have to reevaluate where we're at. And I can live with that. You get me? Like, football comes in cycles. Like, I didn't expect that Arsenal would be the team to have completely 360 this season, but they have, and they're looking good value for money. But even City have struggled not to their usual standard. So I don't want to be overly reactionary and say that it's all over and write the season off. But the reality is, if the season ended today, I'd rather end it in the position where we're currently at than end in a mediocre 6th or 7th, because the reward for that is just more punishment in the long run. That's just how I see it.
Do you think though, Errol, like Klopp's got to start taking some blame now? Like he's so stubborn, he needs to start changing it. Even if it's like 3 at the back, play some wing backs, try and do something in midfield that's different. In January, you're gonna have to buy a midfield, man. You're so bad. It's unreal.
We're not winning. Bro, I've got people there telling me we're not buying a midfielder, and there's options for loan or there's options for Neves at the moment. But there was another article before saying we blew all of our money to get Gakpo, and I'm like, it's frustrating. It really is, because we've got, I could give you an individual breakdown of the midfielders and their issues. We've got Thiago, who on his day is world class, but is not consistent enough for this league or physical enough to be able to do it game in, game out. And I think with Thiago, if he had 2 young lads around him, he's a bit of a luxury player. He would probably still look good more than he doesn't look good. Whereas at the moment, he's got Fabinho, who for whatever reason seems to have fell completely off a cliff, and his legs just seem to have gone. He's not at the same level. He's not performing at the same level. I feel he's another one where if he had 2 other young, capable, athletic, combative midfielders around him, he'd look tidy as well. But at the moment, the jigsaws, the pieces of the puzzle that we've got, they're just not fitting consistently. They're not working together. Jordan Henderson is probably over the hill now. His best days are probably behind him. And that's no slate on the guy. He's been an excellent servant to the club. He's took us back to and he's brought back a standard of football and professionalism to Liverpool as a whole that has taken us to win major honours. So I can't knock him for what he's delivered. But at the moment, he's not being able to bring his best football to the pitch. And then the options that you look to bring off the bench or squad options, they're not physical enough. They're not fit enough. They don't have the real quality to displace any of the 3 that are out of form. That's how bad it is for us at the moment. And then on top of that, you can sprinkle in injuries. But I don't really even see injuries as the be-all and end-all right now, because the problems we was having was there before the injuries even really set in my opinion, this season.
Yeah, man. Listen, Tobes, before we come into like Spurs and stuff and their problems, are you shocked at how bad Liverpool are and how easy it is to play them? Because you look at the personnel, bruv, it ain't that different other than Mane out and maybe a couple of different players, but I'm not sitting there thinking this is a completely unrecognizable Liverpool in terms of personnel. But their style and the way they're playing, man, is so bad. It's crazy.
I am shocked. I can't lie, because Liverpool, the bedrock of Liverpool's team, when they've been at their height of dominance, is how strong they are off the ball, like how aggressive they are, how hard they are to beat, and they just look a far cry away from the Liverpool that you become accustomed to know. Right? They look way more like the Liverpool that Jurgen Klopp initially inherited. The Liverpool that could score quite a lot of goals, could create quite a lot of chances, but they were so easy to play against. You knew
We're still not even doing that, though, Tobes. At
Pardon?
the minute, anyway. We're still not even doing that at the minute. Creating chances for that man like Nunes, but he's not finishing his dinner. But we're not doing it to the same level as we once was.
No, I agree. But what I'm saying is, the one thing you've been able to do relative at a normal standard this season is score goals. Obviously, there's been a dip in terms of your conversion in front of goal because of Nunes, but you're still scoring goals to a certain extent. I think only now, when the injuries are piling up, we're seeing a bit of a decrease in terms of your efficiency at the top end, right? But it's just embarrassing. And then you look at Liverpool, when they went through that period of suffering back in the season 2020-2021, everyone knew that they needed more depth at centre. They needed more depth at centre back. They needed more midfielders. Since that period, obviously, they went on to have a really good season last year, granted. But why didn't they sign enough midfielders in the summer? They wanted Matthias Nunes in the summer. They didn't sign him in the summer. They let Wolves sign him, and now we're hearing that they're linked with him in January. Why didn't you just sign him in the summer? They spent 85.
We couldn't get one of our players out of the door in midfield to actually bring him in. And then when there was no other options, we ended up going for a loan anyway, which isn't typically our model. We're not really knee-jerk. We either go for the main targets or the top 3 targets and do the deal, get the deal over the line in some way. There's not a lot of speculation. It usually just unfolds within 48 hours. Or we don't do a deal for anyone at all, and we don't just knee-jerk make a last-minute bid for someone. And we did that. We booked the trend in doing that with Arthur, and it blew up in our face and made us look amateurish.
My thing is, I knew in my head, I knew from the jump that I didn't expect Liverpool to win the Premier League this season. I thought, it's Jurgen Klopp, it's Liverpool, they'll compete, right? But I didn't think you did enough in the summer to truly push Man City this season. What I didn't expect was the drastic fall off, right? I've seen your defenders have shockers. Van Dijk has not looked himself this season. Matip has looked awful for the most part this season. Trent, still has no protection, and defensively is a liability. The only defender, or the only 2 defenders who I think have actually covered themselves in glory this season for Liverpool, are Andy Robertson and Ibu Konate. And even Konate, I saw the other day against Brighton, it looked like he had a bit of a tough time, but maybe that was more Gomez. And the midfield, the only midfielder they brought in the summer was Arthur. They brought in an injury-prone and washed-up Arthur that couldn't even start at Juventus. The fuck is he going to do at Liverpool at this stage of his career in a team that are so aggressive, so front-footed? It didn't make any sense. And Jurgen Klopp, I agree with Potts, similar to Conte in the sense where these guys have come accustomed to one way of playing. It's got them success, and they are incapable of tweaking. Forget about even scrapping. Nobody's saying abandon the way you want to play, but make tweaks to cater for your weaknesses and to cater for the opposition. And you can't even do that. The guy plays 4-3-3 no matter what. 4-4-3-3, 4-4-2. The instruction, I don't think, is the same. I think he still wants Liverpool to play this ultra high line. He still wants Liverpool to be ultra aggressive, but when they press from the front, the press is not impactful. They're not catching players out. They're not penning teams in. It's so easy to play against Liverpool. And I watched that Brighton game in the second half, and honestly, Brighton could have scored about 5 or 6. And it's a continuation of the same type of vulnerability that we saw at Anfield. The only difference was back at Anfield, Liverpool were actually able to go blow for blow and had some chances themselves. But at Anfield, Brighton could be 3-0 up in 20 minutes.
Klopp Klopp shook and I've never seen him like this. I think he's rattled in a sense that halfway through, when shit wasn't going the way we needed it to go and we was losing games, we got battered in Naples in the Champions League. Klopp turned around and he tweaked the system ever so slightly, and he went to a 4-2-3-1 of sorts, and a bit of a variation from that for about 2 to 3 weeks, leading up to like the international break just before the World Cup, and we didn't look any better going forward for it. We were still getting results, and we weren't conceding as many goals. We probably looked a little bit more compact and harder to break down, but we didn't look hard. We looked the shadow of ourselves, and we weren't as expansive as we were used to being able to play. So I think when the World Cup had ended and then we went back, I thought he felt that he'd had enough time with the lads to really re-implement the way that he wanted to play. And since then, he's doubled down on it because he's caught between a rock and a hard place. He knows that he's had a little bit of joy of that original of the system he tweaked it to, but now the personnel isn't necessarily there to continue and get a run of games using it. So he's kind of got no other choice but to stick with what he's got and hope that the players have got something in their reserves to dig themselves out of this current slump. And I think personally he's asking too much because there's just too much mileage on the clock for some of these players in this formation at the moment. The way that the demand and the way he expected them to play, we simply can't deliver week in, week out, that level of consistency. He also mentioned when we came back that he looked in the players' eyes and they looked like they was ready and raring to go. And you've got to look at it now and you've got to say, he was lying to you. Because between you and the players, something isn't right. I still think you're shit in the bed and you're shook of the current situation. And anyone with two pairs of eyes can see that the players themselves, especially within that midfield, the legs have gone. They haven't got what it takes to be as aggressive, to hunt down the ball in packs, to chase and press in the same way. Teams right now lick their lips at the prospect of playing Liverpool. That hasn't been the case. Like, we got to a point where we was the last teams wanted to play. The teams would rather play City, because at least with City you'd get bored to death, but Liverpool would run you into the ground and you wouldn't be able to recover for your next game. And I think that whole prospect is gone.
Errol, question. What if this bad season gets incredibly worse if Klopp does decide? I know he's come out today and said, I'm not going anywhere, I'll stay as long as you want me to. What happens if he comes out at the end of the season and says, if FSG don't sell, let's look worst case scenario. If he comes out and says, I'm gone, I think that could be monumental for Liverpool. And I think if that happens, I think Liverpool struggle to get anywhere near the levels they have been, because he has been nothing short of world class. There's no denying, like you said, the finals that he's taken you to, the Premier League win, losing it by 1 point on 2 occasions. If he goes, oh my God, it is going to be tough times for Liverpool, because I can't see a manager that comes in and even remotely comes close to emulating what that bloke has done. I think I'll go as far as saying this. If he goes into this season, you could end up like we have been since Fergie have gone. I honestly think that.
Ooh, mate, I'd say more what happened to Arsenal and their trajectory and where they're currently at. I could see a quicker renaissance than potentially where you guys are at, and that's me being hopeful. I can appreciate the sentiment and what you're saying in terms of, there could be the reality that no manager can come in and emulate what he's able to do. I think it would be very dependent on the next ownership model and how that's kind of designed and operates in terms of another man, because the reality of the situation, and again, I know Pete's not here right now to defend this corner, but if we got ownership that had bottomless pits of money and was able to offer whatever, we could go up to Newcastle and offer Eddie Howe a job and say, come and replicate what you've been doing at Newcastle, at Liverpool, here's the prestige, crack on with it. And you understand the tactician that Eddie Howe is, and understand that given a little bit of time, working with I know the pressure amount are probably slightly different, but you can expect that he would get a base level team operating to a good level again. Whether we compete, whether we'd be competitive enough to take on City or Arsenal or Man U in that particular moment would yet to be seen. But at the same time, you kind of gotta expect that from. I'd basically just look to expect somebody to come in and steady the ship. I wouldn't expect next man to come in and do what Klopp's done, if I'm being completely honest.
Yeah, man, it's going to be mad, to be fair. And I think Klopp, fair play, needs to stay, but he also needs to change his ways, man, because otherwise Liverpool are going to be... Tobes, you're cracking up, brother. You all good?
Just check what I sent in the chat.
Is this
Don't play it loud. Don't play it loud.
No, I've been sent this 5 times. I don't know what's happening. I don't know what's happening in the Wolves-Liverpool game, but it's apparently a shambles.
Are we getting BT as well?
No. The floodlights have just gone out, so they've cancelled the game, or they've stopped the game, apparently. But it's Danny Murphy and the commentary before. I don't know what's going on, but something's being played over in the background, and it keeps being played, and they're trying to commentate over it. Someone's getting sacked from the BBC, basically. That's all I can understand from it. That's all I can understand from it. Apparently, it's really bad. So don't play it on loud, people. If you want to play it, mute yourself, because I haven't played it myself yet, but apparently it's mental.
Oh, that's
That's cheered you up, bro. Anyway,
me, man.
it's mad. Listen. Let's get into it. Let's get into it. I don't know how we're supposed to get into it. Oh God, Dan's listening to it. You can see. Let's get into it, man.
Is that real? Is that actually real? Is that actually happened?
Yeah, apparently it's happening live right now. Yeah, apparently it's awful. Apparently it's really bad. I've not heard it, man, but I can imagine what it is. Let's get back to this, man. Let's move. Listen,
right, cool.
Lawless and Tobes, let's bring you both in, man, because Lawless, you said something.
Lawless got food ranger, mate.
Lawless is proper half eaten, isn't he? Lawless, you said something really interesting on Matisse' channel, and for a couple of weeks now, you've said it. You said that the future ain't bright for Spurs, and you stand by that. You think that Conte's going, Kane will go. You don't think it's looking a bright future. I don't really want to bring West Ham's future into this because I don't think you can compare the two. But what was your thoughts on the North London derby before I bring Tobes in?
No, it's good. Obviously, we'll take that smile off Tobe's face now. We'll talk about it. Yeah, it was pathetic. I mean, Conte has allowed Arsenal to do the double over them. I don't know when the last time Arsenal have done a double over Spurs, probably 9 years ago or so, 10 years ago, we're looking at. And it's shambolic. And we talked about the other day, there doesn't seem to be much fight from Conte. He doesn't seem to care. Like, his decision making is atrocious. And his substitutions have been awful all season, just late and worthless. Like, what's the point of you even making these subs? I thought Moyes was bad, but Conte, is some of these games, his game management is horrendous, absolutely horrendous. And yeah, you look at it, the way I see it, I can't see them really getting momentum this season. Where, like last season, okay, they was able to go on a few game run, this, that, and the other. Son does not seem to be regaining any of his form like Tobes thought he would be doing. And I think they're going to finish possibly in the conference positions next season. So all that talk about Cyborg FC, that's which is good because Tobes will get another chance. They'll get another chance to win it. Obviously they failed last season, but yeah, I think that's just going to have a spiral effect for Spurs because, like I said, Kane's going to go. Son potentially could go. Probably won't be the same player if he stays anyway. They need a massive overhaul in that squad, and funds don't seem to be flowing right now. So when I look at Spurs next season, I can see them being even worse. And it's going to be a long haul, and they haven't got that history. Like other teams, Man United can go through a bad spell, right? And it's still Man United. They still have the Man United talk, right? Because of the years and years of trophy success, all of that stuff. What does Spurs have? A Carabao Cup. Oh, look, we won the Carabao Cup 20 years ago. Come and sign for us. So I think that's where they're headed. It's, I'm really, really sad to see, for such an elite club to go down like that. Rest in peace, Tottenham Hotspur.
Tobes, do you want to come back in on those points?
Yeah, I don't think Spurs have ever been called an elite club. But if we have been, it's something that West Ham fans would never have heard of their club unless they're playing in the second tier, in the Elite Championship club. Yeah, cool. And it's I actually agree with Lawless in a couple of things he said. Like, I don't think the future is bright for Spurs, but it's never as bleak as that, right? Spurs, by hook or crook, despite all the dross we've been through in parts over the last 10 years, yeah, we've always maintained ourselves as a team in and around the top six. Granted, it will be more difficult now with the likes of Newcastle emerging, yeah, with the money, etc., etc. But they've always found a way to be in and around there. So I don't think we're gonna see Spurs drift off into this fucking random ass mid.
Oh, have we lost him?
We'll still be in and
Oh,
around
no, he's
there,
come
but
back. He's
I
back.
don't see Spurs competing well enough to get like top four next season or top four the season after that. I don't think we'll have the minerals to do what it takes post Conte and post Harry Kane. Apologies, man. I think my internet is moving a bit higgy, but
Cool.
yeah. So I do agree with a lot of what Lola said, but I just found it hilarious him talking about how we don't have United's name and stuff like that. He's right. He's 100% right. We don't have their name, but I just find it rich that someone who's literally fighting relegation is talking about how muddied Spurs could be. Like, you could genuinely be in the Championship next year.
Why are you bringing my team into it?
I didn't interrupt you. You said what you needed to say.
Why are you bringing West Ham into it, though?
You said what you needed to say. I just found it hilarious that a guy who is literally facing relegation is talking about how Spurs are going to be muddied. I just found it rich. He says that this is it for Spurs. This is it for Spurs. And I'm like, the self-awareness is absolutely crazy. It's crazy. You're talking about a team that are still sat. We're probably in the worst form we've been since that 4-game losing streak last year under Conte, and we're still in fifth. We're still we're still in fifth. The window's still open. If Spurs were to turn around and give Conte a couple good players this window, there's still a chance Spurs could get top four. So it is.
What players do you need?
Pardon?
What players do you need? Or what area do you need?
Centre back. We need a right back. We probably need a creative midfielder. I don't think we'll sign 3, but if you give us 2 at the very least, you'll see some better performances than you see now. But in all honesty, similar to what I said to Jurgen Klopp, I think Conte, I think he's packed it in, man. I think he's packed it in at Spurs. I don't think he cares anymore. I mean, if he did, he wouldn't set us up the way he did. Lawless was right about Conte. I think Conte's done a terrible job. If you look at it over the past couple of months, when you look at how he's managed the team, the tactics he set out, his in-game substitutions, his in-game approach, like, we just look devoid of ideas on a football pitch. You see a 3-4-3, but you see a team that don't really stretch opposition with our wing backs. You see a team that aren't really incisive anymore in the counter-attack. We don't even do that with precision and consistency anymore. And you see a team that are just leaking goals left, right, and centre. And granted, it's not all down to Conte, because some of the personnel are either playing shit, or just unavailable. But as a manager, you need to set up a system that can make your team harder to beat and get more results. And I feel like we've come away from all the things that we were good at initially under Conte last season, and we're just this random ass team that are just drifting, bro. Like, it's weird. When teams play against Spurs, you know exactly how we're going to set up. You know exactly how to stop us. Yeah, we're so reliant on the likes of Kane, Kulusevski, etc. We have experienced heads like Lloris literally throwing the ball into our own net. We have our top centre backs just struggling. We have our shit centre backs looking even worse. We have fullbacks who are playing wing back, but they're not good enough to play wing back. But they're not good enough to play fullback, but they're playing. We have a young G that should be playing that Conte doesn't want to pick. We have a manager who don't want to rotate the midfield. There's just a host of problems, and that's what I hate. Whenever this shit happens to Spurs, it can never just be one thing that you need to fix. It's always a multitude of things. And it always goes back to the people who manage and own this club, because they have no foresight. There's no proactivity in what they do. It's shambles. It's just go buy as you go, or just
you ever get frustrated? Do you ever get frustrated at the lack of pressure applied to those people in those positions? Then, because
100%,
I know my new, yeah.
100%, bro, and it's annoying as well because I think as a fan base we've tried to put pressure. Maybe we need to be more aggressive with it, maybe, but it's just like these guys can feel like their job for so long and yet there's no repercussions. We've seen for a group of people who have failed as much as they have when it comes to on the field matters, they have no patience for the managers who have actually stayed here and built something when they're going through a rough patch, right? Enoch have rarely made right decisions over the last couple of years. We thought they were changing. I thought they were finally changing their ways maybe this summer, and I still wasn't happy with them, but it was positive. We saw the 150 million cash injection. We saw Spurs finally starting to sign players, 25 and under, good players, Benton Core, Kulusevski, Romero, Basuma, Richarlison. I'm like, these are good signings. These are good signings, but it wasn't enough. And there was more that needed to be done, and you didn't do it. Yeah. Martin Yo
I don't know
came
why
in.
you have faith in the window though, because he's still getting those lineups wrong. Like if Sessignon, you signed Perisic and Jed Spence, right? And that was the big thing. Like he's getting his wing backs in, and players like Royale and Sessignon are still starting games of football for Tottenham. That tells you that, to me, I'd be, as a Spurs fan, be concerned that, okay, maybe January isn't going to be our savior. You're pinning hopes on, if we get in a few players.
No, I'm not pinning hopes on January. I'm saying there's still a chance Spurs can get top four if we buy the right player. But I'm not saying that if we sign those two players, all of a sudden the football's going to get better. I've literally just said now, the manager, I think he's packed it in. I don't think he cares anymore. So even if those two signings come in, it's not even a guarantee anymore.
Is there an issue between Son and Conte? Because Son just doesn't look the same. I mean, I know he's picking him, but he just does not look like Son. He looks like a bloke who's who's won a competition.
He may as well just play Richarlison on the left now, Tobes. Like, real talk,
bro. The issue, mate, Dan. The only issue there is that Conte keeps picking him, and he's done it all season. The only issue there is that Conte keeps picking him. Like, I love what Son has done for us. I think he's been a superb player for Tottenham, right? And he's been our second best player over the past couple of years. But this season, he's played at a level that has been so consistently below the standard. And when you've spent the money that we spent on an attacker like Richarlison, granted, Richarlison has missed like 7 or 8 weeks of football this season. But when he has been fit, why am I still seeing Son play 90 minutes? Why? Why am I still seeing him think out the joint? Why? How can a player play so poorly?
I think he wants to win trophies, I think he probably wants to leave. And maybe his motivation ain't there. Because he wants to.
Irrespective of whatever he wants, he's contracted to us right now. And he's earning a lot of money. So you need to play, you need to perform, man. You need to perform.
How long has he got left with you?
So he signed a new deal last season. I think he signed like a new 4 or 5 year deal last season. So he's locked in on a long contract. But really and truly, I think with Son, I don't know whether it's a case of him slowing down. I feel like his confidence is shot to pieces, but generally he's just offering next to nothing, man. And I still think there's a chance. In fact, I still think he can rediscover scoring form. But if Spurs were to get a good bid for Son this summer, I would actually take it. I would take it. I swear to God. And that's not me saying, like, it's not me being reactionary or anything. Even if he goes and scores like 15, 20 goals elsewhere, I just feel like we've been in this position before as a Spurs, where we have a player who is over 30 years old and he still has his uses, but he's showing signs of slowing down. And when the opportunity comes to try and sell him, we don't do it. I remember with Alderweireld, when he was linked with Man United years back, he was 30 years old. And I was like, nah, we can't sell Alderweireld. We need to keep him. He's quality, this, that, and the third. Okay, cool. But in that season, despite him playing well, he showed signs of slowing down. And next season, he got worse and worse and worse. So for me, I feel like we need to sort of capitalize whilst there's an option to try and get money out of Son. If a good offer comes in summer, I would be open to selling Son just for the sake of actually just resetting the whole thing. Conte's leaving anyway. Harry Kane is probably going to leave in the summer. just reset the whole thing.
Do you think you can leave?
David Moyes into Spurs. Let's have it. Let's have it.
Nah.
Moyes to Spurs.
He's staying at West Ham. I don't know why you're saying David Moyes into Spurs. He's staying at West Ham, and you're going to get relegated.
Do you think you can get rid of 3 of your highest quality assets in terms of your playing staff and your manager in the summer and still go again next season? Like, where do you find that 20 goal a season striker in the Prem? Because I can tell you, Richarlison's not going to be that guy. And if you're banking on him,
I don't know, man. Honestly, Errol, I don't know. I don't have the answer for you. And what's worrying is if and when Harry Kane, in fact, when Harry Kane leaves, I don't trust this current hierarchy to actually replace him properly. I don't trust them to usher in this new rebuild and build Spurs 2.0 and make us a competitive side. Sure, they might hire a manager that will get us playing better football. We still have some good players that a new manager can work with. You might add maybe 2 or 3 more pieces and get a cohesive unit and maybe make a fist of top 4 again, maybe compete for top 4. But in terms of being truly competitive, I have no confidence in this current ownership's ability to build a team that's going to be competitive.
Lawless might be onto something there then, to be fair. Lawless, I'm
telling you. And Tobes can sit there and go, West Ham in a relegation battle, West Ham in a relegation battle, West Ham this, that. West Ham was in the Championship 20 years ago. But it's not going to change Tottenham's fate. It's not going to change
the Championship 20 years ago. You were literally the champion like 12 years ago.
Yeah, but that doesn't change Tottenham's fate. That doesn't change anything.
You're right. You're right. It doesn't change Tottenham's fate. Your fate could be 10 times worse. You made a statement that you made a bold statement yesterday on Matisse's that in 5 years' time you'd be what was it that he said? Potts in 5 years' time
West Ham. Oh no! It won't be guaranteed that in 5 years that Tottenham will be Champions League club.
No, Tottenham. No. Tottenham.
No, he said something about West Ham. He said something about
a relegation battle.
That's in 5 years' time, Tottenham will be in a relegation battle.
Tottenham could be in a relegation battle. Yeah, I'm telling you,
it won't happen.
So with Kane, it
never happened. When was the last time? When was the last time you've seen Spurs genuinely be in a relegation?
Yeah,
battle?
when a West Ham legend, when a West Ham ex-player, ex-manager came and saved your club, Harry Redknapp. That's the last time.
That was 8 games. That was 8 games.
No,
that was 8 games.
Oh, it wasn't 8 games.
Lawless, you're calling that a relegation challenge. That was 8 games. Spurs were under no threat of relegation. It's like saying Leicester are in a relegation battle this season. Come on.
Well, they are.
They're not. They're not in a relegation battle. You are.
Look at the points. You would have got relegated that year if it was not for Harry Redknapp.
No, we wouldn't have. We may not have finished 8th, but we wouldn't have got relegated. I don't know why you like doing this. Spurs have not been in a proper relegation fight or battle since the 90s, bro. For 20 plus years, you've never really seen Spurs have any sort of threats of danger of being expelled from this league. It's never happened. So why do you think it's going to happen?
Got something to look forward to then, haven't you?
Spurs were not in a relegation. Spurs had their worst season, one of their worst seasons under AVB. We didn't get relegated, have no fear of relegation. Spurs had one of their worst seasons under Jose, no fear of relegation again. Spurs had one of their worst seasons under Poch in the period where he got sacked. No threat of relegation there. Like, I don't know why you keep doing this.
If I had this conversation with Everton fans 30 years ago, 25 years ago, that they'd be never winning, never challenging for titles, in relegation battles, they'd be saying we're mad. And that's Everton who was winning things, yeah? This is only Spurs that we're talking about. And the Premier League's a different animal nowadays. It's, a lot more competitive. There's a lot more money in this. Like,
no, I get that. What is driving this rationale that Spurs will be in a relegation fight? I can understand you saying, "Oh, we might slip to 9th or 10th," but you're so drastic. You said relegation.
You're hoping.
I'm not guaranteeing it. I'm saying it is possible because I do see a decline.
Okay, and it's possible you could be playing in the championship. It's possible you could be playing in the championship next season.
Yeah, it is. It is, and That's what I'm saying. But
So why don't you?
look
So
at-
why don't you talk? Why don't you talk a lot about that? Why are you talking about this random nonsense hypothetical that Spurs are going to be fighting relegation in 4 or
No,
5
because
years?
you're obsessed with our status right now.
I'm not. I'm not. You are
couldn't bring
trying
it
to
up.
pull Spurs down to your level because you're trying to say that we'll become a relegation threat inside in 4 or 5 years. How bad? How bad? The thing is, I think that's what you don't realize. You see Spurs now. You see us playing awful, and you think, "Oh wow, they're terrible." Now, our terrible is still good enough to finish in the top 10. That's what you Spurs have to,
Wow.
that's what you don't understand. Spurs have to drop off. There has to be a monumental, catastrophic drop off for Spurs to get relegated.
Yeah, but
Do
you're
you
not going
really
to have
believe
those
that?
players that will do
If
that.
you really believe this, you'd put money on it.
No, what I'm saying is, because what I'm saying, I'm not saying
If you really
think
believe
Spurs-
this, put money on it. I don't want to hear it anymore if you don't believe it. If you believe it, put money on it. That Spurs will be fighting
Again,
relegation.
well, I'm
in 3
waiting
years.
till you
We're
pay
doing
up
this
for
show
my
in 3
Highland
years' time.
Sunday.
We're doing this show in 3 years' time. If you believe it, put money on it. Simple as.
Pay your
Simple as.
last bet, and then we make new bets. Because you know what I mean. I could just keep
No,
putting bets.
I'll pay my last bet, but I want you to put money on it. If you truly believe what you're saying, put money on it.
No,
Because I
listen.
can tell you this, I'll happily put money on you potentially on you fighting relegation for the rest of the season. I wouldn't put money on you being relegated because I'm not that stupid. I don't believe that this West Ham team is that bad that they will genuinely get relegated. I'm not as thick as you.
But but you're not listening to what I'm saying because you're that thick
I am
that you
listening to
can't
what you're
understand
saying.
what I'm saying. I said Spurs could end up in a relegation battle, but I do think this is what I think. I think within 5 years you will become a mid-table team that could challenge for Europa maybe on a good season. That's where I see Spurs.
Okay, cool.
Okay, well we move.
Just
we
a quick,
move.
sorry, Potts.
I know,
just a
and
quick-
everyone are frozen.
Go on, Dan.
Just a
Go
quick
on,
one.
Dan.
So, just a quick one with Harry Kane, mate. Like a 2-point question. The first one is: do you think that Levy is stupid enough to say we're not selling you in the summer? You can run your fucking contract down. And second, if you do lose Kane in the summer, how much are you going to have to spend on a striker that's consistently scored as many goals as he has?
We won't find a striker that's consistently scored as many goals as he has. We're gonna have to change the way change the way we play. Right? We didn't have a winger who could score the same amount of goals Gareth Bale scored for Spurs for like a good 4 or 5 years until we got the best out of Son. Spurs are going to have to change the way they play. As it stands now, we're too reliant on the likes of Son and Kane anyway. So Spurs fans have been asking for the board and for the recruitment team to actually bring in pieces that can supplement the attack. Now we were forced with the option to actually look to revamp it completely. So Spurs are going to need to change the way they play. If we had competent owners and a competent recruitment team who actually were able to identify and scout top players, and we had a board that could buy the first choice targets, I would be more comfortable with the idea of rebuilding the attack. But the problem is these guys, they're not good at replacing or redesigning the club. We lost Jan Vertonghen and Alderweireld years back. We still haven't had a centre-back, a stable centre-back pairing. We lost Danny Rose and Walker years back. We still haven't had a stable fullback pairing. We lost Ericsson a couple years back. We still haven't had that player who can create in the middle, right? For years and years and years, we've been buying C and D and E grade strikers to play second fiddle to Harry Kane. So I don't trust this team to reshape this attack. I don't trust this. Sorry, I don't trust this. The people behind the scenes to reshape Spurs. I don't trust them.
Yeah, man. Listen, we move. Before we do, I want to ask a question, and this can open the floor to whoever wants to answer it. 2 questions, actually. Does anyone not see Arsenal falling for this title, falling short of this title? And if you do see Arsenal falling short of winning the title, where is it going to happen? Like, who's going to be beating them? Who's going to be? Are they going to go on that run that you just look at and go, "Wow, you know, this isn't going to be good for Arsenal. They're going to drop 7 or 8 points in that month or whatever it be."
The 2 City games are massive for you. They're massive for you. The 2 City games are absolutely key. They are, because you're playing them so close together, I think, as well, aren't you? I mean, that's a 6-point swing right there, isn't it? If you lose both games, that's a 6-point swing that completely changes the whole dynamics of how this league is shaped up at the moment. So I think those two games are massive, absolutely massive.
Errol?
Honestly, I think it's a little bit what Dan said. Those two games.
I got a stream. Sorry, I just completely forgot. I need to go.
Oh, no worries, Tops. Yeah, of course, man. Of course.
Sorry, man.
Nice one,
See you
brother.
later. Yeah.
Nice one, brother. In a bit, man.
No, I agree with what Dan's saying. Those two games are going to change the complexion of the way that this league's shaping up automatically. Add to that, you've still got to play Liverpool. Add to that, you've still got to play Man U. So I'm not to say that you can't beat this current Liverpool side either at Anfield. I'm not to say that you can't give Man U a good game going toe to toe, but he's going to have to dig deep. I also think the resuming of the Europa League for you guys is going to be massive as well. Like at this point, you just completely just put out a second string team and see how far they can take it on that run whilst maintaining the focus on the Premier League. Or does Arteta his eyes get bigger than his belly and start having ambitions to try and do a double? All these things will start to play into the psyche of the players, and that'll probably play into the psyche of the manager. I think one of the biggest things now is last season it was in your hands to finish in top four. This season, I know it's a little bit earlier, it's in your hands to potentially win the league. The credentials of your manager are going to be tested like no other. The one thing that is going to play to his advantage is he's seen how City have navigated 3 or 4 titles in previous years. And he's got close up first-hand experience of how that was done. So that does kind of play to your favour. But he knows the person that's going to be breathing down his neck for the most part is his old boss. So, you know, there are still swings and roundabouts in this league.
Do you think we can win it, Errol?
Mate, I'm shitting myself, bro. Because I've been having conversations in the boot room group chat today, and I've been telling the lads, yeah, regardless of whether City come back and pip you to it or what, if Arsenal win that league, that's Arteta won, Klopp won, and there will be Arsenal fans that won't want to put context behind, you know, the level. They will want to compare the two. When all's said and done, Klopp's got one and Arteta's got one. In their minds, they're both on the same level and pedigree. And we,
but Klopp's got a Champions League.
Yeah, no, I know. See, Lawless, you can speak sense sometimes, and I get that. And we as people we'll deep it a little bit further. But you know the type of Arsenal fans I'm on about, Dan, that will purely just stick to the. They're there though, bro. They're not hiding. They will stick their chest out and they will pull that comparison as if Arteta and Klopp can be compared in the same breath or the same sentence. So that's what I'm shitting myself for, because I don't think we'll hear the end of it in terms of tribalism and banter. But I do believe that you can do it, yeah.
Listen, what will happen is they'll say, if we win the Europa League and the league, they'll say that Arteta has won an FA Cup, a Europa League, and a Premier League in 3 years. That's what they'll say. Listen, it's a debate that I'm sure a lot of Arsenal fans would love to have. For me, Klopp is miles ahead of Arteta. But listen, if we win that league, then he deserves his flowers, man. It's been fantastic. This season has been absolutely mad. Lawless and Dan want to get. I mean, Dan's kind of half, to be honest. Said he's interested in City. Lawless, do you think Arsenal are going to fall off? It's clear. So where's that going to happen? You think City and United will beat us, and then that will be too much for us, even though we're 8 points clear and 9 points clear of United?
Well, like Errol said, the Europa League run is clear, is key, and then it's a big factor. And then that Man United game is huge because people are overlooking Man United. I think if Man United win that game, they're banging that title race, and then they don't want to hear it, but they're banging that title race, and they've made some signings. Workhorse has come in. If he fires, that could give them a boost. Rashford's on fire. It's going to become very tense, and when the pressure's on, that those later stages, right, when the pressure comes on, can Arsenal do it? Because they couldn't last season. The pressure was on with that 4th spot. 4th was in Arsenal's hands. It was in Arsenal's hands and crumbled. So they can win it. Arsenal can win the whole thing for sure. But there's some tests to come, mate. It's still January. It is still January.
Only halfway,
so
man.
let's
only halfway.
Yeah. I know. Well, that's the thing, you know. But if you could get Mudryk, mate, you could. Oh, wait, sorry.
Let's not go there, man. Let's not go there. Listen, we're halfway through. halfway through, 9 points clear of United, 8 points clear, and Newcastle, 8 points clear of City. I think anybody on this panel would have taken that in this position. You can't lie to me to say that you would not take that. So we're in a very good position. We need transfers. This transfer window could be make or break for Arsenal in terms of a title challenge. If we don't do anything, we could be, with injuries, brought down into the pack. But it's a big game against Man United at the weekend, bro. Let's quickly touch on that, Dan. Obviously, United are flying. Fantastic win. I watched the game, and to be fair, I thought you deserved it. I don't want to go into the offside goal because I've heard it for days now, and
it was offside. Look, it was offside.
Yeah.
Look, it's one of them ones. If it happens for you, you say nothing. If it happens against you, you're fucking seething, aren't you? Simple as that. It was offside. It was offside.
Listen, you did well, though, man. I thought you were really good, and I'm going to have to take my hat off to Ten Hag. He deserves his flowers, man. In this amount of time, what he's done, he's got all the players in that he wants. I actually think Weghorst will be a good player for you. I think he will score goals. And I think the signings, to be honest, apart from Anthony, have probably banged. But I look at the way we're playing and look at the way United are playing. Home advantage. We want revenge after what you did to us at Old Trafford. I fancy us to win 2-1. What's your thoughts going into that one, bruv?
Score draw. I'm going score draw. I just think it's so important for United that we don't lose. It's as simple as that. I said at the start of this 3-game run that I'd have been happy with 5 points. We got 3 points against City. I couldn't believe I was just over the moon with that. I was so happy with the reaction to the goal. The fact that in previous seasons we'd have gone down. Well, at the start of the season when we were still sort of transitioning, we'd have gone 2, 3, 4 down. I absolutely think that Ten Hag deserves more than flowers. He deserves a fucking bouquet for things he's done with that squad. Wan-Bissaka, I mean, okay, you kind of say he's at fault for the Grealish goal, should attract his man, but Wan-Bissaka was finished start of this season. He's had to use him, and I tell you something. I thought, apart from that mistake for the goal, he was solid against City. I thought he was absolutely solid. The job he's done with Luke Shaw, we had 3 centre-backs on the bench against City. 3 centre-backs. And he's trusting Luke Shaw to go up against Haaland, who, let's be honest, didn't have a sniff really, did he?
He's looked good, man, Luke Shaw.
He's looked amazing. He's looked amazing.
Never thought that would happen.
Unreal. So I think the thing is, I'm going to use the word I used last week, and that's realism. I want United fans to keep realistic here and understand where we are. We are having a fantastic season. It's incredible. It's more than I said top 4 at the start of the season. I'm still standing by that. I don't think we're ready for a title race yet. I really don't. I think
but Dan, if you beat City and then Arsenal, who knows? I'll say obviously you've beaten City, but I said that. I said if you beat City and you beat Arsenal, you are going to be talked about as title contenders. You might not win it, but you're going to be talked about.
But someone put in the comments, and they're completely right. Who is it? I can't see it.
I don't know.
It's are the squad ready for a title charge yet? And that's where the mentality shift has been incredible at United. But are we ready to take that punt and take that step? There we go. Yeah, there we go. I'm not sure. But at the end of the day, he's done so well with the players he's got. Other than Anthony, as you said, quite rightly said, it was scandalous. It was. But other than that, he's got. I mean, there's 2 factors here that ruin United's season. 2 factors: if Casemiro gets injured, or if Rashford gets injured. When Rashford went down against City, I sat there. I thought, oh my god, this is all we need. If we can keep them 2 fit, then anything can happen. But I tell you something else as well. And I was just about to say that. Fred was brilliant against City.
He was so good, man.
And this is what Ten Hag
just sat on De Bruyne, but that's Ten Hag.
Exactly that. It's what happens when you have great management. So we'll see what happens. I don't personally think we're ready for a top 4 for a title race yet. I don't, but look,
I think you get top 4. I think top 4 is done for United.
Got to be.
I think you'll get it, man. I really do. Lawless, someone who ain't getting top 4 is you, bruv. Moyes, wow. I mean, how is he still there, man? Like, let's be real. Is he if you don't sack him now, are you actually just going to keep him to the end of the season?
I think they're hesitant because from what I've seen, they're worried about a lack of available managers that they see of quality that they can get to come in, and that's the issue now. It's them looking at it and going, okay, if we sack him, who we get in? And we don't want to be stuck with someone that's not that good just because we need someone now. So I think there's all these rumours about Rafa Benitez coming in, which really doesn't inspire me at all. We've gone from, an ex-Everton manager then to an ex-Liverpool manager that are both negative, both boring, and uninspiring. So, although Rafa might win us the Conference League.
You could do a lot worse than Rafa Benitez, lad. You could do a lot worse than Rafa. Put some respect on his name.
Yeah,
I said that.
Can't judge him on Everton. Can't judge that. But he's top manager. Top manager.
That was always
the wrong move for him, man.
That was always the wrong move. He just wants to be back in the city more than anything else. And Everton were desperate to have a manager with caliber.
I think he'd be a good appointment. I know Tobes laughed it off, but I think he would actually do good with West Ham. So, you could do a lot worse, bro. But are you going to get him in, man? Like, if you beat Everton, right? Like, seriously, if you beat Everton, they ain't going to sack him, right? And you have to, because they are shambles, right? And then you've got, like, the Spurs of this world, Chelsea, all that coming. It ain't looking good, bro.
Yeah, I mean, look, my hope is at the very least, they have the sense to, if we do beat Everton, like you said, they probably won't sack him. It's the whole David Gold tribute. Obviously, he's passed away and they're having a tribute for him. I think that comes into it. They don't want to sack Moyes, especially since he was David Gold's guy. That was his choice. So I think they're hesitant on that. But if
you lose to Everton, he's got to go. If you lose to Everton, you've got to get rid of him.
If they, honestly, this is the thing. If we lose to Everton, even if we got a point and they don't sack him, the heat is going to go back to the owners. All the heat has been on Moyes. No one's been talking about the owners because they spent money. If we don't beat Everton and they don't sack him, the protest will come back out. I can see it. So this game is. I'm feeling like we're going to win. I feel like we're going to win it because they're that bad. They're away from home. I just see us winning it. But I just think the bigger problems will still remain. I think Moyes, he's a man who peaked. He had a purple patch, and I think that purple patch is run out. It's run dry. And I'm seeing just some of our delusional fans. Honestly, I cannot believe it, calling him our greatest ever manager. Our greatest ever manager. How disrespectful is that to the club and to the great managers we've had who actually won trophies? He had a good 18 months in charge of this club. And people are calling him our greatest
Who's the best ever
manager.
Premier League? Who's the best ever Premier League manager West Ham have had?
I mean, if you're talking about Premier League era, he's a contender. When I look at what?
Glenn Roeder.
Well, Glenn Roeder finished 7th. He got 7th. You know what I mean? But
I didn't get you to a Europa League semi, man. Europa League semi. It's got to be Moyes, isn't it?
Yeah, but when you look at it, he's had the best squad out of most of our Premier League managers, right? He's had a much better squad than Pardew, who got us to an FA Cup final. Much better squad than Big Sam, who got us promoted, stabilised us. Much better squad than Bilic, who got us, Europa League. He's had much better squad than Kerbishley, Zola. He's had far better teams than that. And now look, £170 million investment, and he's crumbled. But to compare him, and people are comparing him to the likes of John Lyall, who won FA Cups, got us to European finals. Ron Greenwood won the European Cup Winners' Cup, FA Cups, brought through legendary players. Moyes is driving off all our youngsters. They don't want to sign with him. They don't want to stay at the club. And he's our greatest ever manager. It makes me sick. It disgusts me to hear that. So there's still a bit of love for him with some sort of delusional sections of the fan base, which I think is a problem. But I don't know, man. I'm just waiting for him to go. And just waiting to see if we can get a good manager in. There's managers out there.
Is it going to be Rafa?
Dice, mate. You'll have Dice. I can see it.
Is it going to be? It's going to be Rafa, isn't it?
Do you know what? I can't lie. Yeah.
You can't be choosers.
I think I might rather Dice than Rafa. Because I think we've seen.
Why? Because you're in a relegation fight.
No, not even that. I think we've seen everything that Rafa has to show, right, about what he can do with different types of teams, how he plays that. I think Daesh has a lot to prove. He's at a Burnley side with no money, whose primary ambition was to stay in the Premier League. That was what it was, and they would go down, he'd get them back up. That was their ambition. Whereas, if he comes in, could he show himself? And I see an interview, and he talks about his philosophy, and he goes, people want to pigeonhole him as that manager that plays, direct football, 4-4-2, boring, lump it up. He said that's fine, but that's what he's had. That's the tools he's had to work with. So maybe I would rather see where we go with that and give him a chance to prove himself than Rafa, who's been to China, and done that whole thing like Pellegrini, checked out, come back, went to Everton, had a disastrous. I mean, that was always going to be a disaster, and any manager that goes to Everton it's a poison chalice. I agree, but it's just I don't know. It don't excite me. It don't inspire.
I'll tell you what, Lawless. Right? Let me ask you this.
So why do you want to be excited? You just want to be safe. Excitement is overrated. Excitement is overrated.
No, because I think I don't think we're in Big Sam territory, which means shit. We need someone to come in and put out the fires desperately. I think we've got a really good group of players.
You're asking for Sean Dyche?
No, I'm not asking for him.
Lawless, I'd pay money to see Paqueta to try and understand what Dyche is saying to him. I just think Paqueta's good there.
Lawless, let me ask you this, right? Let me ask you this closing question, right? And this is serious. You're only, I mean, apart from staying up, which let's be fair, I think you will do, joking aside, right? Your only hope of a half decent season is winning the Europa Conference League. Who do you have more faith in winning that? Sean Dyche or Rafa Benitez?
Well, yeah, Rafa. And I would if Rafa.
There we go. I'd take him.
If Rafa's till the end of season job, yes, okay, I'll take Rafa till end of season, and I will suffer his football. But if it's a case of you sign him, yeah, I will suffer watching the shit that he wants to put out. And I'm just bored of watching us. Like Moyes bores me to tears. He bores me. I want to enjoy watching my team again. I want to have fun. And that's the sports. Football's an entertainment sport, and we've signed all these players to play crap, boring football. But I don't want Rafa beyond this season. I want us to go with a fresh new outlook. Look at Brighton. Brighton are such an inspiration to other teams of how a club should be run and how you go out and get managers. Brighton lost Graham Potter, during the season. They could have sat there and went, let's go, Dyche is available. Let's contact Rafa. Let's get this, that, and the other. But they went out and got a manager who the wider football world hadn't heard of, right? Who never managed in the Premier League, who was a risk, but kept him with the philosophy of how they want to play. And look at them. So why do we do that? Why do we just have to look at, the Dyches and the Benitezes and all of that? It's lazy and boring. Like, go out there. We've just signed Noble as director of football. Do your job and scout and find the man to take this team, this group of exciting young players, to the next level. And then in the summer, we sell Rice and we reinvest that money on some good players for that new manager. Let's give it to a manager with a vision. Yeah, that's what I want to see. I'm bored of these dinosaur managers. I'm bored of them. Chance after chance.
You said there that Rice, you think he's going, and that was how I was going to finish.
Here we go.
Talk Sport, The Athletic, Daily Mail, the Sky Sports, even today, all reporting that Arsenal's priority in the summer, not in January, is going to be Declan Rice. Now, personally, I'd like to see us get some signings in January first and worry about now, but apparently we want to freshen up our midfield with Partey and Xhaka being touching 30. Declan Rice is the number one priority. Now, I wanted to ask you, Lawless and Dan and Errol, whether you think Arsenal would be a realistic destination for Declan Rice in the summer. Now, I think we'd have to win the league and maybe even the Europa League as well for him to not want Chelsea or City instead of us. But maybe he fancies Arsenal. Errol, come on, man.
City have just got Phillips and they haven't seen the best of him yet. So they're not going to go and get Rice. Doesn't make sense. Chelsea aren't going to be in the same footballing position as Arsenal next season. They're fighting for Champions League places. Then let's not rule them out yet. They're nowhere. They're not close. They're not even in touching distance. But if they, as Lewis said earlier, if he had a 10-game running streak, they'd be back within the race for it. Arsenal are pretty much nailed on for European football on the top table next season, as it currently stands. So regardless of your position of winning the league or not, the Arsenal project, it's showing signs of promise right now. You can't. No, I don't think any Arsenal fan, you could even probably. I haven't watched the League Gunner stream since fucking October because he was that guy that was telling everybody that he was never going to be the guy. But at the moment, I don't even think League Gunner would have too much, bad words to say about the current Arteta, not necessarily Arteta, but the current Arsenal project as a whole. Where he's going as a club looks like he's in safe hands. So there is the potential for someone like Rice to come in and slot in seamlessly, stay within London, and add that extra quality to your midfield. So I don't think it's a far-fetched target for you, if I'm being completely honest. And I think the price will probably be a lot better now because is he going into his last year of his contract next season? Lawless is that what?
He's got 1 year. We can trigger a second year. So we can trigger we're obviously going to trigger that.
He's going to negotiate with them, aren't you? He's going to make sure that he's got a level of money that he's willing to accept, but he then gets to go to the club of his choosing.
Yeah, no, but we'll trigger it, which means we've got 2 years, and then so we've our basically our position will be stronger. Yeah. So look, I think this whole, because Chelsea miss out on Champions League next season and Arsenal have it, I don't think there's that much weight to it. I don't think he's that short-term minded that he's looking at going, who's in the Champions League right now? Obviously, Chelsea is his boyhood club. He came through the ranks there, obviously, then came to our academy. His friends are there. He's got a lot of connections there with that club. So they're obviously always going to be favourites. There's other clubs. I think that would be sniffing around. Liverpool, I don't know what you think about that, Errol, but your midfield probably
we need bodies. We need competitive players in our midfield. I can't lie, but I just don't see us forking out that money. We had the opportunity this season. We just won't do it. We've got one target at the moment. We've put all of our eggs into a certain guy's basket, and unfortunately, I don't even see that becoming a reality. Even I don't think Declan Rice is option B or option C.
Yeah, man. I don't know. It depends. I really think it depends where all these teams finish. I don't think City's an option because he ain't going to play ahead of Rodri. Like, even if he plays alongside, they have to change their formation if Declan Rice goes to City. And like you say, they've got Phillips to back up Rodri. I think with Manchester United, it could be an option depending on where they finish because they've got the money. I think Arsenal, if we win the title, I think it could be an option because I think he fits everything we want. He's a player position we want for one, but he's 22-year-old English. He's going to fit in with the Ramsdales, Ben Whites, Sakas of this world. He's definitely going to play. Let's be honest. That midfield trio has been fantastic, but you wouldn't say that Declan Rice couldn't force his way into it ahead of Granit Xhaka. So for me, it's going to be an interesting one. So yeah, I think Arsenal could be.
That's such a tough time getting ahead of Granit Xhaka. What a hard thing. Exactly. Have to really battle to get ahead of Granit Xhaka.
Well,
but this is what I'm saying. I don't think that he's going to look at it short term. This of going, okay, which team won the league? Who finished here? He's going to go to the highest bidder.
Chelsea.
That's going to be
which is why I think it will be Chelsea. And I said that to you, Lawless.
United and Arsenal could go in with 80, 90 million.
Yeah, and they'll go 120.
Exactly that. That's what Chelsea's transfer strategy is at the moment.
That's it. If they're in Europa League, I don't think Rice sits there and goes, "Nah, fuck off, Chelsea. You're in Europa League this season, and I want Champions League." I think he's still young enough.
Nah, he's been playing the conference. He's fucking made up.
Lawless, it's perfect for you, isn't it? Because if you think about it, a bidding war that's going to happen, regardless of who goes. If you get 100 million for him, right? How much are the parachute payments when you get relegated to the Championship? Is that 120 million?
Yeah, there you go. See,
there you go, mate. You've got loads of money.
Oh, mate. Yeah. Like you just sat there and go, "Oh, you're too good to go." Wait, where's your shirt, mate? Where's that shirt? Look at it. I roasted that shirt, and he's gone and put that Man United shirt back on. Get that Hawaiian little number on.
Mate, I'm just waiting for you to get like fucking 8 Mile. You look like Eminem when you put the fucking hood up.
Oh, well, listen, I just had to replicate
these week. Are their arms heavy?
Dropping bars on us.
I'm not sure.
Get the shirt back out, Dan.
Get the shirt back out. Listen, boys, we're going to leave it there, man. We've been going long enough, and Errol's got a second half of football he wants to go watch. So,
Yeah.
listen-
No.
Yeah, or maybe he doesn't. Maybe he doesn't. Maybe he doesn't. We'll see.
We're winning at the minute, so yeah, I might stay out of it. Do you know what I mean? Might win a game. Fucking hell.
Oh, mate, it's one of those, isn't it, at the moment? My thanks to Errol, thanks to Dan United, thanks to Lawless, and of course, Tobes, Pete, and Lewis that were on earlier. We'll see you next week, guys, for a whole another roasting for some and praising for others. It's going to be Arsenal United, which is going to be absolutely mad. Score draw, says Dan. I'm going 2-1 Arsenal.
Liverpool, Chelsea as well.
All right, Liverpool, Chelsea. Go on in, Errol. Give us a prediction.
I think it's going to be a bit of a stalemate. It'll probably finish 2-2.
2-2. Let's see what happens. Lawless, you going for a West Ham win against Everton?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a 1-0. It's going to be a tight 1-0. We either get a penalty or get a bit of magic from Benrahma or Skamaka.
Lawless, with West Ham, can I ask you a quick question?
Yeah, go on.
If you had one shot or one opportunity to seize everything.
I love that. What a great way to finish it. We'll see you next time, people. Take it easy. Up the Arsenal.